It's good to be back out here. We'll really go 4 practices in a row from here through to Saturday. We'll do 2 shells practices today and tomorrow, and then 2 full pad practices Friday and Saturday. What we concentrated on today, which is a huge phase of the game for us, they're very good at it last year, is our third down packages. Our offense was #1 in our conference and 11th in the nation last year, and you saw the importance of it continuing drives. Defensively, it's one of the areas that we concentrate heavily on. You saw the pass rush that goes along with that. Clancy both will do 4-man rush and blitz pressures, and it instituted it being 29th in the country in it last year. So it's a very important phase, knowing where their sticks are and knowing down the distance. I thought the kids did a good job with it today. It also showed me how important it is. I thought the quarterbacks did a lot better job today of finding the running backs in the passing game and not focusing all on the receivers. But one thing that we got going, I can see Rojo very much improved coming out of the backfield, made 2 nice catches today, and then I think the addition of Vi and Stephen Carr both have very natural ball skills. I think they're going to be weapons coming out of the backfield. Injuries today, Pi Young got a right hamstring strain. We'll see the significance of it. I'll let you know tomorrow, and everything else was just slight cramping and being able to pull for hydration. With that, any questions that you got?
John Houston inside.
Yes, sir.
Big enough to play inside?
Oh, definitely. You know, right now when you look at those kids that are inside, you got Cam Smith, Jordan, John Houston, as well as Levi Jones. We've put Buddha in there a little bit too to help us interior, and Grant Moore, and those are kind of the 6 kids that are rolling through there right now. The beauty about John, especially in this league, you see a lot of 3 and 4 wideouts where all of a sudden that Will Dimebacker has to walk out on a slot into the boundary, and his athleticism really comes into play, as well as Jordan's does also. So those are 2 really good athletes that are working that position.
Early in camp, we're starting to hear a lot more communication amongst the players on the field, less from the coaches on the sideline during those key moments. How much do you attribute that to the leadership of this team and being in Clancy's system for another season?
Yeah, I think it's twofold, and I really think anytime that you can keep a consistency of staff, keep a system in play, the same terminology in play, guys that have now had reps, experience, you tend to step back as a coach and let them take it over, and that's what you want to see. And credit to our kids, what they did this summer in those PRPs, you know, putting that investment in, I think has really jump-started us and got us a little bit ahead of the game, especially defensively. You can see that. You got some young wideouts right now. We're still having to get lined up and coach, but defensively, the first 2 deep right now, 1s and 2s, are really just going out there and playing.
You're giving Clayton Johnson a little bit of a look there at left tackle. What have you seen from him? I know it's 3 days, but
yeah, you know, he really came on in spring and had a nice spring, and now he's positioned right there. Eto'o's mixing in with him, as well as Austin Jackson. But you know, Clayton put on some good weight over from December to now. He's put on about 20 pounds and still kept his athleticism and feels comfortable on that left side, where Chuma feels really comfortable on the right. So we're giving him a good look. And so him and Toa are going with the 1s and kind of double training at that tackle position. When Toa's in at center, he's going, and then when Toa comes out, he's getting the blow for a second.
Did Nico add weight too? He looked big.
Yeah, I think all our kids right now, and that's what usually happens. You go through the summer and you're going through either a strength and conditioning program, and they walk in and go, wow, everybody's pretty good. And then you go through 29 practices and they lean up just a little bit. So, but I think we had a great summer. I really do. You look at our kids right now and they look the part, and I think it's a huge credit to Ivan and his group. But a tendency is they come in and they'll probably lose anywhere from 5 to 10 pounds during camp.
In the second group, you got
on the line together?
What's that now?
Toa and Nico, are they going to start?
Well, you know, our job is to find the best 5, and right now, obviously, those are 2 guys that have had a lot of experience, as we know, Scott. And you know, we're double training them at center as well as tackle, and our job is going to be to find the best 5. You know, their experience and the reps that they've had, the leadership they bring to the table. You know, they're going to play a lot of ball, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're not in the top 5 when it's all said and done. But those are 2 really good football players that I credit to them because they don't have egos. they know they're here to help the team, or whatever position they're in, they're going to.
So does that mean Chuma's moving over, or are you just experimenting?
No, Chuma right now is really investing on the right side. A lot having to do, with that right hand that we talked about, coming off that surgery, getting it healthy. Just feels more comfortable over there because you don't use your outside hand as much. And being a right tackle, you're forced to use that left hand so much more significantly than your outside hand.
Talking about the top 5, you've got Austin Jackson, Andrew Voorhees, and I guess Reggie McKenzie is 3 freshmen in that second group. Could conceivably any one of them be in that top 5? Is that possible for true freshmen?
We'll see. We've got about basically 16 to 17 more practices before we release it 2 deep, and I have been impressed right now with both Austin and Andrew, both at the tackle positions where they're at for freshmen, and it's so great to have them. I'm sick that Elijah got the hamstring the other day because he was playing well. You could see him coming along, as well as Brett Nealon's done a nice job, and Jalen. But probably the 2 kids that are getting significant reps right now are Andrew and Austin, and doing a nice job with it, rolling with those 2s.
What are those guys doing Andrew at guard? Is he also a guard?
What's
Andrew,
that now?
Andrew is also lining up at guard?
Our mindset coming into last recruiting class was to be able to sign tackles, and when you look at Andrew, you look at Elijah, you look at Austin, you look at Jalen, all of them played tackle in high school. But we saw that they would have the size to be able to move inside with great athleticism if we needed it. So we oversigned at the tackle position, knowing that we could move a couple guys inside, but we really wanted to gain that athleticism.
What type of versatility would that give your offensive line if you have that type of athleticism at the guard position?
Well, one of the things that I think right now, when you look at a Rojo and you look at the athleticism in this back, Rojo is a great outside zone runner, and it takes great athletes when you do run those outside perimeter zone plays, whether it's toss sweep or outside zone. So we have a lot of pulling in our schemes, a lot of things where guys have to be on the run, and so we're looking for the 300-pound athletes, and right now we have a good crop of them, a good young crop of them.
I'm just wondering, out of Austin and Andrew, what are some things that you are happy about that you're seeing from those guys? Why they're standing out?
Yeah, definitely. Usually when you come in and you're that young, they do a pretty good job in the run game, but what stood out to me thus far is their pass protection skills. To be matched up on a Wale or a Connor Murphy and be able to hold their own, not every time, but be able to really compete with 2 guys that have been here for a year, that's a good sign. I think both of them right now are sitting right at 300 pounds, so they put really good weight on from the time we signed them to now and still held our athleticism. But I've been really, really impressed with them in the pass game. All 5 freshmen are doing well in the run game, but those 2 guys have really stood out kind of in our pass protection schemes.
Three practices in, how would you handicap the Heisman race between Sam and Jack Jones?
I'm glad both are Trojans, and I tell you what, I have credit to Jack. He is much more businesslike and mature in this camp, and I think that a year worth of being in our culture, and a year worth of being around some real good older guys. When you're around a Biggie Marshall, a Marvell Tell, a Chris Hawkins, they teach you and show you the way, our way. And credit to Jack, he's listened, and a little bit different guy than he was a year ago. Good.